This is BleedTV, the only podcast of today's best shows and movies. I'm Zach.
And I'm Cash.
And tonight we are down Jake.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was unable to remove his balls from the jar that was into the garage that his wife holds guarded.
Hey, you got to put a little spice in the pickling every once in a while. And just
Yeah, so it's right next to his backbone. It's in the Tupperware on the shelf as well. But anyway, no, he had a family arrangement he had to take care of, and any opportunity to bust his balls is a quality opportunity.
Oh, yes. It's one you got to take willingly and endearingly close to the heart.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. But this is we're going to cover The Walking Dead. This was the
15th?
Episode 15, the one before the finale. This was called Worth.
I think they showed a little bit of their worth this episode.
I'm not gonna be a basher really that much.
As we say to the preview of every pod before we
take
out the chainsaw.
Well, the bottom line, guys, if you listen to our pod, we call it like it is. There's a lot of shows we cover that are consistently fantastic, and unfortunately, I love The Walking Dead. Cash and Jake are losing slow interest, but however, we are committed. We love the characters. I just hate that some of the writing's gone the way it has. Yeah. I'm not going to beat that to death. We've already talked about it many times. Hoping for a rebound, hoping that a new showrunner maybe changes some things, some new writing, and so keeping my hopes high.
Exactly. And this episode gives you a reason for that. At least
it does. Yeah, like this was one where this was thought out. This was put together. This is where good actors who chew the screen up do a good job of doing that and make some good trips and some different turnarounds.
And they had fun with a lot of the writing again.
They did, exactly. So
hey, IMDb gave it an 8.5. I'm okay with that.
I'm all right. I'll go ahead and go right out the gate and tell you that if you had scratched Aaron and his entire situation out of this episode, this episode would have been a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, I completely forgot about him, and I realized why I completely forgot about him. He's not missed.
Dude. The entire. I'm gonna go ahead and get this over with. Oceanside, the girls, the whole deal of. Supposedly he's been out there ever starving, but he's gonna kill a walker and fall out like he's dying. To me, it's like, is he playing dead?
I thought he was playing possum for a little bit.
Yeah, I was kind of like, I'm a strapping man. You need one, girls. You need something.
Although he's gay, so
yeah, this is true. Yeah, but you never know. You're putting on what you got.
If it gets you to survive, maybe.
Right? The bottom line is, and so. I just thought it was. I'll be honest with you, it was just asinine. The entire the way they brought about him, finding a piece of metal, a coffee
perfectly folded,
a coffee can out there in the woods.
He somehow made his way back to this tree. I don't even want to guess.
I kind of was like, okay, I was living with that. But then when he's fighting walkers and like. One, he falls down, he loses a knife, and then he just kicks one. Not like the head explodes like a cantaloupe and like that. It's just you hear like a crack of like somebody's neck breaking, and that walker's dead. It just stops.
Yeah, we're just assuming it's done.
I didn't understand that at all. And then,
also just searching for this knife, I gotta say, looking for a very sharp like Bowie knife, like he's holding, just all willy nilly throwing your hands around, you're gonna lose it, half your hand.
They're just like I said, the entire thing just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm tired of stealth walkers.
I was gonna say there is zero reason for even one walker to come up to him and find him, let alone 17 magically come out.
He's not making sound. He kills this one. He's not making much sound, and then suddenly he's surrounded by 8.
Yep. Killed 3, and then they were all dead.
Stop it.
Please.
Stop it. I mean, let's be honest with ourselves, people. Did anybody fear that he was going to get bit and die in this situation? Anybody? No. Raise your hands. Absolutely not. You know it. That's what's killing this thing is that you're putting people in fearful moments, in stressful moments, etc. So on. But when you're this far into the show, that doesn't work anymore.
For the most part, no, because it did work on me a little bit in this episode. Because in the first meeting with Simon, I was a little worried for his life. Not going to lie.
I don't know. I mean, put it this way. Okay. Yes, it was a shock. I know there's some people out there that are like, oh, what's about Carl? Okay, well, look, let's put it this way, guys. Carl was bitten and you wasn't shown.
Yeah.
That was a major reveal later to where, so something that showed you earlier, you didn't get seen.
Regardless of what showrunner said, at no point in time did they show Carl being bitten.
So to me, that shows you that Aaron's not going to get bit and reveal it later, because then you're recycling that same storyline. Thus, you know he's not going to get eaten out there. What's the point of putting him on screen to die when they just discarded him earlier?
True. And there's no one to mourn his death.
Exactly. And then nobody would be able to find him. He would just be bait. So all those things in conjunction, I'm sitting there going, can we just get this part over with so we can get to where Oceanside is going to collect him?
Yeah.
And then he lifts his head up and tells him, you'll always be in fear. You always this, that. And it's all because of him.
And all you have to do is one thing, fight. I'm like, well, okay, let's weave some things. Maybe save me and then fight. Something.
And here's the other part of this I'm kind of concerned with. Okay, we have already know that guns and ammunition are very low.
Yes.
Okay, for even Negan as well as the Kingdom / Hilltop, you were asking for these girls to come help you when they have spears with hooks on them. I don't see, other than just vast numbers and cannon fodder.
Which I don't even think they have vast numbers at this point.
I'm just very... Not to say I'm not saying that there's not probative value. I'm just saying they don't represent something.
They don't have a funny militia or anything. There's no
that makes you feel like this is a balance tipper, or this is that cutting edge you need to win. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to play this part out. And then here's the other part of this too, is that we're now with one episode left, and there's not even been a meeting with these people and Rick.
Yeah, so there's no way for him to...
The convergence of these groups to do something as a collective seems far-fetched at this point. We only have one episode left.
Especially with Aaron having to be way past his due date. There had to be a set time. Like, hey, abort it after this point in time.
How many days are you out in the woods where you're completely useless, wasteless like he was? To me, that's over a week.
Yeah, easy.
Realistically, so when you can barely stand, barely survive. The guy killed one walker and laid out.
Yeah.
And they left him there to die and to walk by him.
Find
he was
water.
able to get
Good
water
luck.
and then able to fend off 6 or 7. But after one, he almost passed out. So, again, your order of operation didn't match.
Because I thought that ended up being a flashback. When he went back to me, that's how he got so tired.
Yeah, I don't get it. So the Aaron thing, you cut this out of the episode, and I'm a happy camper. It's another example where Oceanside is unnecessary. It's another example where it's a wasted storyline that doesn't help the overall plot. It just really doesn't.
It just made it an hour and a half episode instead of the regular hour episode.
Yeah, I think it was an hour 15 episode.
Yeah,
altogether.
It was all because we added Aaron.
Right.
Yeah.
I do some things I didn't really like. I love the opening scene with Rick and the letter. I thought there were some really cool shots of him on that deck and overlooking things.
What do you think finally made him open it?
I think Michonne just telling him
at the end of last episode and everything.
Yeah, like you need to do that. You need to know what he was, which I could understand his hesitation too. That's something you want to be able to look forward to.
Yeah, and
you want to hold on to that as long as you can. So I totally get it. And I like the message. I thought it was cool. I like the handwritten letter where it had mistakes and was continued written. Mm-hmm. Those are really good details. These are things that
fantastic details. I loved just the noise in the background as we're reading it and everything. I think we had birds at some points and everything. And then talking about the walks, I thought was pretty cool because that's something you don't think of as a kid or anything when you're doing those, but then you can look back and actually see them.
Yeah, I agree. It felt real. And that's what I liked about it.
Yeah, it actually felt like the writing we had back in season 1, 2, and 3 where it was detailed and you could tell they cared about it.
Right. It just made sense. It didn't sound like fluff.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. So that was one of the things I really liked from the beginning of this was that they brought that in play, and I think that was really good. And every so often, Walking Dead does some really cool visuals. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Really cool shots, different things that give you some things. I love there's a scene that always sticks in my mind when he's walking down the hallway and the light's really cool. They have it comes down.
It was like the posters for it for so long.
Right,
too.
And then, I remember when Rosemary did that really cool aerial shot over the entire sanctuary. I thought that was neat. So every so often they really do some really cool stuff. It really gives an artistic touch. So I do appreciate that. The other little part we could probably go over is the Eugene, Daryl, and Rosita scenario.
Now, shout out to my boy Eugene for probably being the most survival thought-provoking person. Like, he's like, what will I do to survive? Literally anything.
You know, I have a mixed bag about this little scenario. Some people say one thing, some people say another thing about what they think the motives are, where our motives are now, and different things. So I'm looking forward to picking your brain on this. Eugene, you know, starts off with his special sardine mac and cheese concoction.
Okay.
In copious amounts on the spoon as he's digesting it.
I don't know about you. I've had a multitude of mac and cheese. Like, probably up until this episode, I thought I had every variation of mac and cheese in my life possible. Sardines in mac and cheese is something I've never even contemplated.
It's borderline a crime.
Like, I'm going to put you almost on a serial killer list.
Yeah,
if you're putting sardines in mac and cheese.
It's an automatic ass whooping.
Yeah.
In my world, where if you ruin good mac and cheese with sardines,
you
need your ass kicked.
And this wasn't necessarily good mac and cheese because it was like almost mac soup.
Yeah. Here's another thing about that too is that, you know, I'm thinking about the process of making cheese. And I don't really see the possibilities of making that anywhere in the sanctuary or anywhere around it. And so the whole idea of having that cheese, if it was like real cheese, is not really a possibility to me. I know that's a horrible detail, but otherwise, that's several-year-old craft.
Which is, I mean, it probably lasts.
It's probably fine.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a shelf life of 37 years. You know, trust me, there was nothing in that bowl that looked like mac and cheese to me other than the color. And
it was white.
Yeah, and
what kind of color mac and cheese?
I'm just saying, man. And then it was so distracting to see the copious amounts he was putting in his mouth at a time.
Oh my God!
You know, and then him slapping his jaw together and with these eye looks and stuff. The Eugene in small amounts is awesome. Eugene in large doses with ridiculousness intermittent through it sometimes is just grating, like, you know, fingers on a chalkboard. There were several parts in this that was just like, oh God, man. Okay, you're laying it on so thick that it was a little much.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit it perfect. Eugene's like a nice little heat check person. You know, you bring off the bench for like 2 or 3 power seats, and then you get him out.
I mean, he's a closer for an inning or two.
Exactly.
Top. You know, you bring that guy in to, you know, clear a bench up, you know, that's it. When you got him in for more than 2 or 3 innings, you're bleeding us.
Yeah.
You know, the guys from
the
guys from the infield about to ready to throw the glove at you. You know, it's got to go. So to me, he was on his 3rd, 4th inning, almost to his 5th inning. It was time for the boot or the hook to come out. You know.
By the time he came back at the end of so I guess he gets kidnapped and everything.
All right, so he walks outside, pretty cool, with Daryl putting the arrow through the head and Rosita there. This is a scenario where these things happen and they're right off camera.
Yes.
Okay, this is fine for me because you're walking outside. There is no perimeter. There is no guards. And so, yes, you could be laying in wait for somebody to step outside and do this. So this completely,
no problem.
Completely fine with me. It really was. So as we're going down, you know, we're having the conversation of, you know, I did it for you. You know, you made your choice, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, of course, Daryl threatens him with, his giant Bowie knife and all that stuff. Well, then we get to the situation where we have 6 or 7 walkers. And so this is where The Walking Dead baffles me.
Okay.
Is that 3 or 4 walkers, people run.
Yes.
Daryl sees 6 or 7.
Walks towards.
Got you.
Yeah.
This is no problem.
Stops to reload his crossbow.
Yeah, he shoots one. Cool effect, though. That one that drops and kind of like slowly falls and looking. Thought that was pretty neat. You know, load another one, does it, and he's able to handle it. That part was fine with me, but don't show me that one guy could care less and can handle 7. Well, and other people who are just as capable say 3 is too much or is issue, or you could be Rick where you can have 30 of them around you and you just do forearm shivers in every direction.
It'd be okay.
Never have a fear
like
in your
you're a 70s football player and everything. Doling out tackles. Or you can be Aaron, not have any water, kill 6 or 7 walkers with twigs lying around.
Yeah, exactly. So the inconsistencies there are somewhat. But I'll be honest with you, him noticing the walkers were coming from a different direction and then doing the throw up thing. I'm sorry. When he threw up all over, I kudos to the actress for just sitting there and taking it. You know what I mean?
Rosita, she gets an A+ in my book. Complete pass for this episode.
And this is this is the lines that she's okay with doing because she's pissed off and they're short and sweet.
Yeah.
Anytime she has huge dialogue, again, it's the nails on the chalkboard again. But these three worked. These three worked well. I'm telling you, I was laughing
because there's a lot of anger and hostility, but I didn't necessarily believe it because it's with Eugene. Yeah. It's I was like he said, like it made it comical.
It did when he threw up all over.
Oh my god!
Just like I couldn't.
Well, because like he puts his, I was like he's not about. I was like, oh, he might. Because what do you do? Like if you're about to fight somebody or like you're kidnapped and you just throw up on a person, there's no sane reaction if you're getting shot at immediately.
Yeah,
you buy yourself 3 seconds.
I mean. It just
and she like just toughened up like boom.
She just stands there and takes it. That's the thing. Like to me,
no gross, no nothing.
It wasn't like I raised my hands. Like what the fuck, or like how sometimes you lean forward because you're like, oh god,
then like it gets even worse.
Yeah, because it's because you're like, oh, no. She just stands there like I feel like I was. What was it? Was it Tombstone? It's like, I corrected, sir. You're an oak. And she stood there like an oak, like spew away. Do not even flinch.
It's just water to my roots.
Yeah, I was just like,
because like all she did was she readjusted, took the gun off. But then she starts shooting them, and I'm like, "You're willing to shoot Eugene?"
That's the thing too. Like when he runs on that fence, she shoots 6 or 7 times down range.
Obviously, after he's on the other side, but
and she's shooting to this wooden fence, so it should be splinters, and he should have holes in them.
Yeah,
I mean, like, we're gonna, the whole line of, your pathetic life. We're gonna make you to get what's in your head.
Oh, she crushed him.
She crushed him, and I get that. So he runs and he escapes. Now, before all this happened, when he had his mac and cheese thing, he had this long dialogue about how Gabriel was a F up and look at these primers on these guns and this, that, or so on.
You can tell they don't work or anything.
You're right. Well, they're not level.
Yeah, complete sabotage.
Right, and stuff. But I didn't want to say we forgot about that. But so when they go to run for him, and they get in this little ash pile, I guess, where they've been burning bodies. Cool concept. Yep. I thought that, again, this was a great set piece.
You're not losing Daryl in this to me. Daryl is known as an expert tracker.
Yeah, to me, like, how do you make it look like you run past it?
Come back.
Here's the part I just call BS. How did you cover yourself with the ashes?
That efficiently, that you have...
Because he was face down with what seems to be some kind of fabric over the top of him and completely covered.
Like almost a tarp-like thing over the top of him. I'll give you at most a 15-second head start.
That's the other thing too, is that the time that it would take for you to get down, find this piece of material, get under it,
run
somehow get the material over the top of you to make it look like you're there. The way they did it. That's the thing. Now, it would have worked if he was hidden beside something where you couldn't see majority of him, where you could cover your head and your shoulders and stuff, but you can't cover your whole body to make it look like you're under this thing, they did.
To me, the whole problem is you're trying to lose Daryl. So if you don't have footsteps going all the way up that hill, he's going to notice.
Anybody who knows this, when you step in ash, you make prints for a good ways.
Days.
I'm just telling you that. I mean, I know this from personal experience. I'm out here in the country, burn sticks, burn wood, all that stuff. You go in there and you move sticks around, you come out, you leave your footprints everywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if you're in grass, asphalt, concrete, whatever.
You're being
that
followed.
Ash it's just basically another version of charcoal. You're going to make some kind of marks. And so the idea that they just blindly, he looks down, sees what obviously you can tell is prints going through this ash, and just blindly run up this hill. Didn't quite make sense to me. Cool effect that he's hiding under the ash.
It was great effect and everything, but it was ruined to me just by...
Again, this is supposed to be one of those things where it's real or cool of, wow, look how well hidden he is. Mm-hmm. But don't worry about how that's not really possible that he could do it by himself.
Yeah, let alone.
That's right there is the quip with the show is that, we don't worry
about...
to
this cool place.
We have this awesome concept and theme, but let's don't worry about how we got to it. Yeah. That's the Walking Dead way. right there.
So Eugene's definitely going to outrun Rosita and Daryl in a foot race. Yeah, like no problem.
Absolutely. So again, when he comes back, and a strange dialogue of, we got a perimeter set up now, this, that, or so on. And, we're going to meet this quota for our man Negan.
No longer are we going for the minimum. Oh, no.
Yeah.
We're going to meet the full order, kit and caboodle. I was like, oh, all right.
And if you don't like it, chew one of those bullets you're making. It's like, oh my God. All right. So this is where the debate comes in. Is Eugene a true bona fide bad guy, or is he a true bona fide good guy?
He's a true bona fide cockroach. The guy just wants to live. Any means possible. And if he can switch back over to Rick's side, I think he will.
All right, so there's theories out there that he's sabotaging the bullets, that all this ammo that Negan and them think they have is not what they really think they have. Do you think that's a possibility?
No, because then I don't think there's any reason for him to fix Gabriel's.
Okay.
Like, I mean, if that's the case, you just let that go unnoticed.
Well, some people say, and I'm just saying what people have been telling us, because we got a lot of emails, a lot of social media stuff on this, that he says, follow my lead, and you see him putting cartridges into this handheld device and squeezing it, thus making bullets. I am not a person who says I know exactly how to make bullets, or not make bullets, but to reload shells is what they're doing.
My buddy redoes them.
I do not. To me, I know it requires a type of press to press the lead round back into the casing, and where it's sealed, there's a certain precision amount of gunpowder in there. There has to be a primer that's set on the end of the casing that ignites it. I know all these things. I don't know the exact measurements, but I know that everywhere I've ever seen a gun, a bullet being making reloads, is that it is more than something you can do just in your hand. I've ever seen, because it requires like a full pull down bar press to be able for that bullet to insert properly into that thing. So I'm not real sure what that thing was in his hand. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who do. I think that was
just refilling it with powder. I think that's all he was doing.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's somebody out there that could tell you in a quick second, and Zach, you're an idiot if you didn't know that. No, I'm not an idiot. I just don't fancy myself.
You don't know the full makings of this?
No, I go to Walmart or Sports Authority or Academy or this, that, or so on, and I buy my ammo in 50, 100, or 500 round boxes. I mean, it just is what it is. I don't go and spend a few $100s on reload equipment and buy those parts. I don't.
Yeah.
So to each their own. So if you're a listener and you know what that handheld device was he was doing,
I think it was just like a filler, or maybe it was what set the primer. Because
somebody tell us what it is. If you know what it is, email us. BleedTVpodcast@gmail.com or on social media or whatever. Tell us what you think. I'd like that answer.
Do you think Eugene's a bad guy or not?
Yeah, that's the next thing. We ought to set up a poll. That's what we ought to do.
That's what we'll do.
And see if thinks he's good, bad, whatever.
Because I personally, I just think he's a survivor. I'm not saying he's good or bad. I think he's just someone that is going to find a way to survive by the end of the series.
Yeah.
I know you coming from the comic book side a little bit more. Do you think that we've made him full on Negan? You think that's going to be a necessary Kirkman remix, or?
I'm not real sure. I think it's a situation where to me, for them to be able to move forward, even the show itself told us that we need what's in your mind, so you're bringing you back alive.
But that's not necessarily accepting.
Not necessarily. However, based on what we've told y'all in the preview cast of the comic book and everything else, in my opinion, that right there tells you that he has a future in the show.
Okay.
And so
you think he's still savable in some shape, way, or
absolutely. Form? To me, absolutely. I don't see,
because he hasn't done anything too unredeemable yet.
No, that's the whole deal.
But if these bullets do come and mow us down, then I don't think there's any way he's redeemed.
Yeah, then the mullet's got to die.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese and sardines and all.
Maybe it's best. Maybe
I think it's really, you just need to end any thoughts that was good at one time. So,
hey, Rick, he put sardines in his mac and cheese. He must go.
Yes. Kill him now. So, yeah, no, that's the problem. That's a no-go. So I'm very curious how that's going to go. The other part really about the show is really kind of deals with Dwight, Simon, and Negan.
Bravo to Negan. The man pulled every string like a puppeteer.
You know, I 100% agree with that. The only thing I think was way too telegraphed was the whole episode where he opens the car door to the mysterious person.
Yeah.
Anyone who's watched the show can come to the deduction that had to be the girl that survived the gun battle. That's just the reality of it, is that, you know, there's no other person that could have, in my opinion, that they have either shown or haven't shown or would have even made sense that he could have picked up that would have made a difference moving forward in this, with the amount of episodes we have left behind. So to me, there was no surprise when she showed up in Dwight's room. Now,
that's fair.
That's just the way I looked at it. You know, I had several people who argue with me on Facebook about it, about how that was a complete and total mind trip. And I was like, you are weak and feeble-minded is what I told them. You know, and that gets people upset, but the reality, that's just how I deducted it. You know, when I told them the reasons why, several of them were like, you know, I give you that. You know,
it's like, as soon as you laid it out to me like that, it was like, oh, no, that does make sense.
Yeah, well, see, that's the difference. Like when I watch the show Walking Dead, I'm looking at all the little details.
Yeah, you're remembering what's going on.
And I take notes, and I said, so I feel like the show is always trying to give you details. Some are breadcrumbs, some are big pieces of steak. And this is one of those. This one was a big piece of steak to me. You know, the parts that are cool breadcrumbs are when Simon talks about a helipad and solar panels in a dump.
Yeah.
When suddenly a person in a white coat shows up in a jacked up van and says, "I'm just here to exchange information or records."
My knowledge for your food.
Right. And so those are things that they throw at you as a rope-a-dope, and you don't know why, what, where, and if it's building content. And so you're constantly looking for clues to you know,
what makes that make sense? Then you got to go back and rewatch. Yeah. Oh, maybe this was mentioned here.
So to me, when I see him pull up in a car to somebody, I'm constantly racking my brain of how does this fit into the current storyline? Because he obviously knows who it is. Yeah. He's welcoming to this person, and you know, the only thing about it is what's the randomness or the odds that he's driving by at the right time. She feels comfortable enough to go over to the vehicle anyway in the dark.
Yeah.
You know, that part is where it's like so far-fetched. It would have been so much better for her just to show up.
Because you know it can't even necessarily be a savior because you've already seen Dwight turn on you, so you don't know who else back at the camp you can trust.
Exactly. I mean, like, all this is just so... It would have been better to have a point of view of somebody watching Negan leave by himself and then her appear like she knew he left in that car or he was riding in that type of vehicle
and his vehicle was wrecked. So there's no
there is a way of evaluating that makes sense instead of him just magically pulling on the road at the exact or magical right time and happening to see her and her being able to see him, not knowing, because this is not his car. This is a BMW that she had. Okay, at the dump, not one that was from the Saviors. So that's not even a vehicle she could say, I recognize.
Yeah.
So all that puts into play is just
by the way,
poor writing.
Giving, what's her name, Janice? Giving her like the complete wardrobe change and everything.
Jadis. Yes.
Jadis. Phenomenally
She went from a 2.5 to an 8.
Yeah.
Easy. I mean, like, game changer.
Absolute
Who knew a set of tight jeans, putting a bra on and having a flannel shirt that was somewhat tight would change the game.
Yeah.
Putting her hair in a ponytail.
Yeah. You know,
getting rid of the absolute, you know,
horrendous cotton everything or haircut. Like, Michelle might have actually been in trouble, you know?
Yeah, Rick, you know, he might have been like, yeah, she's got the right genes for the future, you know, in more ways than one. Bada bing, you know, and so, but, I mean, I just...
and then, on top of all of this, it's your word versus Dwight's. So, I mean, you're still going out on a limb.
This is true. Absolutely. And so, if you look at everything, Simon, absolutely love Og. The guy, God, I hate that he's gone off the show. the opening deal of, he's like, he's confessing, I did it, give me another shot, gets on his knees, doesn't flinch, all is forgiven.
I stand by it. I was worried that Simon was going to eat Lucille here.
And to me, it would have made sense. And so I was a little on the edge of the seat. I enjoyed that. I was really surprised that he immediately went right to Dwight and said, let's go ahead and get back. I mean, if you're already back in good grace and you're absolved of your really bad act, do you really just want to go right back to going right back at the boss man? Is it that quick?
Maybe if you know that you still just have no other play.
Yeah.
Because maybe he didn't feel like he was actually back in his good
here's
graces.
the thing, though. Here's the thing. You have to understand this. He delivered his plan to Simon.
Yes.
Okay? To everybody in that room. And the plan was to kill them.
True.
So to me, Simon would have been, in my mind, would have been like, now he's on my page. We've got to kill these jokers, you get rid of them, and we can move on. You know what I mean?
That's how I was kind of feeling.
So if your boss has just saved your life, you're still in great shape. Okay, you're still number 2. He unveils his new plans with more guns, more bullets. Everybody has a plan, and we're going to kill them, one by one, snipe them, the whole 9 yards. And so it's equal satisfaction of all that you want, minus just not being the head Joe. Why immediately say...
Well, we did learn something else about Simon. He's a very sick individual, apparently. Yeah. And so maybe he doesn't feel like Negan's going to give him that free reign as soon as this war's over.
Maybe so.
Like he just got the taste for blood again, killing everyone in the dump.
Maybe so. But the scene right before this where him and Gregory are talking, and he's like, I'm not done. How dare you tell me I'm done.
What a great job by Gregory.
Yeah, I think his name is Xander Berkeley.
Yeah,
the guy, Berkeley. To me, this is one of his moments where he shines.
Oh my God.
He's a scumbag on the show, but the comic book character was a scumbag.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a guy who pulls it off great.
He does it phenomenal. That's all we've been talking about is how well he plays.
I loved it. And then of course Simon, you don't have to look at optics. And to me that means I have to kill you. He's like, no, you don't. No, you're the man with the juice. You know. When you're in charge, you can do as you want. And he goes,
and because of that, I gotta kill you.
Yeah, And
how dare you say I don't have the juice in it? I've got the juice. I was like, Simon's gonna buy this for. Oh no, he's Gregory.
Slapped him down. I really enjoyed all that. That was great. Again, so Simon says we're gonna meet in the courtyard. As soon as he said we're gonna meet in the courtyard, I said, all right, Dwight's a turncoat. I mean, right then and there, Simon, you're dead.
Yeah.
To me, that is like.
And how'd you?
That has to be one of the lamest locations to have a meeting
anywhere.
To be in broad daylight, outside the building, windows everywhere,
in the middle.
Right. The whole. And how about the whole Dwight's outside, and we had the little whistle. And everybody's like, which I thought was pretty cool because Dwight looked like he had a small shard going down his leg into his boot when he heard the whistle. Let's push the dumpster over here. Help me out with this.
Yeah.
And then the dumpster ends up being where he was hiding the whole time.
And the dumpster was empty and on wheels and everything. And I was just like,
Okay. I had a problem with Negan just crouching down because the dumpster was shorter than Jeffrey D. Morgan.
Yeah, I mean, dumpsters are only
so that means when Dwight was standing over by the dumpster, that Jeffrey Morgan was kneeled down or bent down instead of so on. You can't tell me the guys that walked up beside him didn't see his ass hanging out from behind the dumpster and be like,
or
there's a guy back there.
That Simon doesn't see him after he kicks the doors open from an elevated level.
Yeah, I hated the location of the meeting. I thought that was cheeseball.
Terrible spot.
If anything, you do it in a spot that's inconspicuous, not well seen, not well lit.
Maybe
where you could have a private meeting.
Maybe like a cell of some sort. Maybe where you kept somebody.
It's a spot where you can't be ambushed.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, okay, yeah, this is really cool that I did this, but this is not where you have your team overthrow Negan meeting.
No. Also, no one does a perimeter check.
Yeah, you know, do you not make sure? Why does everybody meet Dwight at a location when Dwight's the first one there?
I mean, this is terribly
to me, everybody should be there, and Dwight meets you there.
Yeah.
Not you go meet Dwight. So all this is backwards.
And then just like, does no one besides Dwight have the common sense to show up to a place early? Like,
I'm just telling you, like, that's the parts where the details of writing fail because they're like, how can we get it where it's a cool... I turn my coat on you. Oh, okay. We'll just have Negan pop up behind a low dumpster and him whistle and 4 guys get shot simultaneously in front of everybody.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And not only that, there's people out there hiding under the stairs and other places.
Everywhere.
You know, like they were set up there for a long period before this happened. Those are the things that don't make a whole lot of sense. That's what bothers me.
And just just still seeing that cigarette right there. Like, already broken, and it was like, no one's wasting a cigarette at that point in time.
Yeah.
Like, we've already seen them save, like, a twice-smoked cigarette. Like, those things are precious.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not even a smoker, and I'm just like, no one's going to waste that.
All right. So, of course, Simon, you know, goes after Dwight, you SOB, you know, blah, blah, blah. And he comes down to a point of, like, okay, you want to be the man, you're going to have to beat the man. So it turns into Fight Club.
I thought it was going to be like a political debate with how it initially started. And I was like, okay, Negan go in complete democracy.
So, what did you think of Fight Club?
I thought it was a really bad idea, just because what if someone else wants to challenge you at this point? Like, you're not necessarily the greatest fighter, Negan, and this could escalate really quickly.
Yeah.
But I thought the fight was done really well.
I think that was well choreographed. I thought the fight was good.
I love that.
To me, a lot of people are like, you know, Simon has more physical prowess and should have easily won this. And to me, it was pretty equal the way they were doing things.
Yeah.
And they were hitting each other. I 100% get you on that, you know, when people were telling me.
Well, especially after we saw, I think it was Josh Toomey, where he posted that thing on the Facebook page. Simon's jacked.
Yeah, I mean he's a specimen. Oh yeah, Toomey. Yeah, guys, if y'all have never listened to you know,
if you're
metal,
fans of heavy metal and everything,
underground, this guy does amazing interviews. He does I think it's Metal Nexus podcast or Talk to Me podcast. The guy is top notch, cutting edge. He's truly one of the best podcasters out there when it comes to the music scene, a lot of the underground music scene, and some of the classics. And so, if you're into any of that stuff, you need to go check him out. The guy's got it going. The fight scene goes back and forth pretty well. Of course, it ends up with Simon on the ground and getting choked out. I thought it was all good. The idea that Dwight gets Gregory and grabs the map.
Loved it.
And get a car and get out of here. I thought that was, you know,
I thought
it was very,
perfect.
Like everybody's in there. This is a big show. Nobody's
and it made
looking
sense.
outside.
Like, Dwight's always somebody looking for an edge or crack or something.
Here's the thing I don't care for is that they're having the fight. He gets Gregory out of there. The very next scene, Gregory's delivering the map and going back to his cage.
Yeah.
And then the very next scene after that, Dwight and Negan are walking down the hallway. You know, you're my number 2 now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, bing, bang, boom. I mean, I want to know what kind of engine. And, you know, are we talking about Marty McFly was driving him over there?
Oh, I mean, you haven't seen those new Lambos down there and everything?
I mean, that.
Quite nice. You know, you don't have to worry about traffic, no red lights. Like,
it just shows you that the timelines are not important. I just like.
You know, the walking of coincidences is what the show has become a lot.
And that's the thing. You needed to see that before you had the reveal of, you're my delivery boy. I gave you a phony map and you delivered it right to him and da-da-da-da-da. And so I understand why you had to have that scene.
But God.
I mean, but it didn't have to be literally 4 seconds ago.
Yeah, no, like you could have easily spread this out.
When people have driven from the Saviors to the hilltop in the past, it took an
episode.
Yeah, it took a whole episode to get there. So you're telling me that Gregory just knew the shortcut. he was good. You know, who cares?
I've done it a few times.
This wasn't Driving Miss Daisy. This was,
It's like when you play Skyrim, and after you've already traveled to a place, you just get fast travel. Yeah, and so like he just had that. It was like, oh, boop.
He Fast and Furious this thing all the way over there. It was like, the one thing, anything faster would have been Dom next to him. That just stuff baffles me. So again, of course, they open the door. She's there waiting on him.
If I'm giving you this information, I'm not going back to that cage. I'm sorry. Like, if I'm giving you something that I believe to be this valuable, like, whoa, at least let me get a bed or something. And he's the only person in the cage.
Yeah, well, he's solo. Yeah.
So, Gregory, like, after the phenomenal scene we had you with Simon and everything, don't back down to Maggie and Rick.
Yeah, I mean, well, he did have a point. It was his only play. I mean, so you got to do what you got to do,
I'd be like, look, guys, I'm not giving it back to you if you put it in the cage. I'm just going to go walk this way.
Or you can die outside the gate. Yeah.
Hey.
Options.
But, I know, sorry to interrupt you. What'd you think about Negan's grand master plan? Since he is about to say it was a masterful plan, if he does say so himself.
I was 100% fine with it. To me, I thought it was pretty cool by the writers to... Instead of her just showing up and saying, you son of a bitch, you're going to die, they actually made it where he used it against him to turn on Rick.
Yes.
And I thought that was a pretty cool, move to make a little spice for the final episode. So I really enjoyed it. This is where I felt like the end result was well brought to. Like, we went from A to Z, and the Z was the unveiling of you're a turncoat piece of crap. I gave you a map that you just delivered that's going to end up killing Rick. How do you like my apples now? And we went from A to Z to get to that.
Like, we actually thought how we were going to get from there.
Again, the only thing I thought could have been better is that her being picked up at night for this second double-cross reveal was cheese.
Some of the editing could have been done a little bit better.
Right. You could have made it better way for that, which would have made all of this even better.
Yeah.
To me, do you even have to show that you picked somebody up?
Honestly, what they could have done was just made her like Aaron, passed out on the side of the road, and him being willing to take the chance that it was somebody he knew.
Right. Or, the bottom line, there's just so many different ways
or they could have showing up at the...
That's the thing. Like, make it where, you see a hand knocking on a door, and
it's like she's just been scoping, waiting on Negan.
Exactly,
to get
something. Don't give me that. Picking somebody up, and I'll be like, oh, who could this be?
Yeah.
Enough on that.
That and the Gregory delivering message.
Yeah,
times.
It was a little quick.
Yeah. Outside of those two things, they actually really did. Even
good.
With those things, they did think it through.
Correct.
They just didn't do it the best of ways.
Correct. And so, again, kudos to Simon. They take the bag off, and he's out there, and he's a walker.
Dude sold it. Like, this was some of the best acting we've seen on the show. And the dude's dead.
If we were going to have an act, the Academy Award for Best Walker rendition.
It's odd. Heads down.
There's no doubt.
Greatest rocker.
He went from chewing up the screen as a live person to chewing up the screen literally as a
dead
walker.
Or something else.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. I definitely wanted to make sure we hit on him because, dude, he's swerving his head around, biting like a Tyrannosaurus Rex with small arms.
Yeah.
I loved it.
It delivered. So I really like that, and of course he's like, I got plans for you, old Dwighty, and blah, 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 blah. And, that's kind of the episode.
We have Michonne reading.
Oh, I forgot
the
about
letter.
That. Yeah. I was really surprised that the letter wasn't given to Negan. You know what I mean? I was really surprised.
I don't see any way you deliver it.
Well, to me, I'm leaving you something over here. You need to come get it, or something. And but then one of his goons over there to grab it.
But you want to make sure he reads it, or
and I give you that, and that's where I was okay with it. It just kind of surprised me that's how it was delivered.
Yeah.
His reaction to it was even more surprising to me. At first he shows the
remorse
and so on,
and I think it was a bad play by Rick to not read this letter when he was talking to
Negan. Yeah, when he had the opportunity. Yeah,
because I think it would have helped.
I could have changed some things
if he had read it then instead of everything that's happened now.
And instead of you're going next, you're going to die, and by the way, Carl will do this. It's going to be okay. We can all live in peace and harmony.
Carl wrote a phenomenal letter.
He did.
You know,
he shit on it real quick.
Yeah.
You know, he took a big sloppy hot steaming dump on it and said, "I wouldn't take your surrender, or I wouldn't take this."
If
and
you
enough
came in
talk
on these,
and destroys $189 Kenwood radio.
Yeah.
I know this because I have to be buying from work and they're expensive. And after the apocalypse, that thing's worth gold. And he stomped it, that bastard.
And I mean, hey, that's a great stomp because I mean, they don't really.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard to break them. And Homeboy's boot took care of business. So
Yeah, one stomp.
it's about 3. Don't give him too much.
I mean, one stomp, it cracked it pretty well.
Easy. Okay, are you Negan boot loving? I mean, come on, dude.
I mean, did you see those? See how fashionable they were? I think they got the little buckle and everything.
You're one of those guys. You're the one people have to worry about. Anyway, so enough talk, and then we cut to preview. Now, if you're not a person who watches previews, just, you know, hide your ears or so on. You know, basically, they said, you know, get ready for the, you know, the big finale. Da, da, da.
So we're going to be like an hour and a half?
The preview show didn't make it feel like this was going to be the end of the Negan War. Then, shortly after the show was over, after Talking Dead and stuff like that, they did a little more promo, and then on Facebook all day, they were doing the promo of, you know, the end of the war. Don't miss the final season. Then the war concludes and da-da-da-da-da. So then the promos after the previews were the ones that were making it sound like this was going to be the end of the whole scenario.
So do you think this is the end of Negan? Or do you think we just wrap up the war?
The war ends. I mean, they pretty much have said that. The war ends. It's got to end. They've been dragging it out. 16 episodes of war.
We very much have made this feel very governor-ish.
Yes. So I think the war's going to end. I think they're going to definitely rope-a-dope how it's going to end in comparison. The theories now are: does Negan survive onto the show, or do they go ahead and kill him off? How are they going to do that? I think the show has already given you the answer. My opinion, 100%, is that they keep showing you Eugene alive in the predictions of Carl's vision. They showed you that Negan was alive, and that these are the possibilities of the future.
So you think they're both still alive by the end of this season?
Absolutely. Eugene's going to do something that's redemptive to make him worth saving.
How on earth can he do it? I guess because he truly hasn't done anything.
I'm telling you, it's got something to do with those bullets. I don't know what it is.
Okay, so you're on the side of the people emailing us in saying that
I don't know what he's going to do. I'm just not real positive. To me, it would be a great mind trip if it's that, you know, because in the preview it shows a scene where he takes a reload and puts it in a gun and shoots a target, and Negan smiles from ear to ear.
Yeah.
So to me, you know, they show you that on purpose.
To me, that's just bad writing. That you're not setting anything up or anything.
I don't know. You know, he's pissed off. He makes the comment about pathetic lives to make the person who's viewing it think that he is 100% Negan.
But he has no reason to side with Rick and them, especially since they literally tried to kill him.
Unless he sees something that changes his mind. To me, it could be he could see a death that changes him to where I'm on the wrong side. He sees the brutality of something that says, wait a minute, do I want to be the one who's responsible for all the death that's about to happen?
I don't think he cares as long as he survives.
I'm with
personally.
You. I'm with you. I don't know. This is where how the writing goes doesn't give you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this isn't like they're going to be able to tell me this was a big reveal that they've left little breadcrumbs the entire time. Like, no.
To me, for them to be able to continue the show, you either have to have Eugene be a part of it, or that book that Homegirl gave knowledge of replaces Eugene.
Which is possible.
Which is very possible.
Maybe not even necessarily the book, but just she has more knowledge and she's written down in that book.
That's a possibility. You know what I mean?
Because to definitely be able to collect, I can do bullets too, but that's going to cost you.
So I don't know. Again, you know, we did before this season started, we did a preview cast that talked about how all this war is supposed to go down based on the comic book material and who lives and who dies and why. And so if you want to know more about how this war is supposed to conclude based on the comic book, I encourage you to go back to our preview pod right before season 8 started. It was our season 8 preview where we basically go over the entire comic book of what was supposed to happen. And they've done a pretty decent job of remixing a lot of it. But they use the same content. But they've remixed a lot of it. And
they really did most of it all in the first 6 episodes or so.
Yeah, they did do a lot. So if you want to know more and you're one of those people, I implore you to go back and check that out. But yeah, I'm sure the finale is going to be extra long. I didn't even look.
I'm going to assume it's going to be an hour and a half.
Yeah, I'm
2
sure.
hours. Well, hour and a half.
Well, you have to also think about this. The Fear of the Walking Dead comes on right after it. And so in my opinion, what they're going to do is going to be an 8 to 10 show. Fear of the Walking Dead comes on at 10. And then they'll do the Talking Dead way after that, you know. And all I know is there was some really crazy stuff on Talking Dead, afterwards. There was... and I'm going to be honest with you, people. There's a lot of folks that have blown us up saying that they don't know if Chris Hardwick is just into the show anymore, because some of the stuff he says and the stuff he comes back with feels like it's very put on. Like he's really trying to, did I really watch that and try to sell it? You know what I mean? So I'm curious to think what y'all think. If you watched it and watched Talking Dead, do you think Hardwick's changed? Do you think he's not what he used to be? Exactly. I know it's terrible making millions.
Yeah.
Talking about a show for 30, 45 minutes with cool actors and stuff, but
someone's got to do it. And is he the right person to do it anymore?
I think he's awesome. I just, me,
if he
his
doesn't
behavior and his mannerisms seem to have dulled down in some different things.
He's becoming a little Jake-ish, like
yeah, something like that. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Again, we're at Twitter. We're on BleedTV Podcast on Twitter, BleedTV Podcast on Facebook, or Zach BleedTV if you want to friend me on that account. Where it's just a more personal account to me. It's connected to BleedTV. And of course we have BleedTV Podcast at gmail.com. We answer emails. Trust me, you send one, we're going to talk at you. We're almost at 100% on that, because that's one of the things that we love. That's our paycheck, getting to talk to you guys personally. And so anytime you want to do that, don't hesitate. A lot of Facebook Messenger, a lot of that stuff too. So always enjoy conversation with people. Don't hesitate for it. But I think we're going to call it a night, guys. Yeah. I think we got a good run, and we're going to have a good season finale next week, and we'll go from there.
And then it's on to Westworld, I believe.
Yeah, we got Westworld coming out
in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, and then also there's Into the Badlands, and we're trying to juggling around how we're going to handle some shows and how we're going to do it, but. Those are the 2 big ones we're looking forward to. I know there's a lot of people who are Fear the Walking Dead. Unfortunately, Fear the Walking Dead has gotten better, but it steered us away early. If this season picks up, it'll be interesting to see how Morgan goes into the mix and how that plays out.
I'll catch up, but I doubt that we end up ever potting.
Just, there's enough Walking Dead for just that. So.
Yes.
But other than that, guys, we're going to call it a night. This is BleedTV, and I'm Zach.
And I'm Cash.
And we'll see y'all next week.